Yeah, thanks for coming out. It really was this year where a lot of documentaries from all kinds of different perspectives and methodologies and approaches connected with audiences, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it does feel like a very special year, not just for these, 5 documentarians, but if you just look at the landscape of how much incredible work there is out there. I mean, you have to really work hard to see everything. I think that documentaries have found a space that didn't exist a number of years ago. Part of why I think that audiences are so receptive to them is that they're hungry for good storytelling, good content.
And it also seems to come in so many different forms.
Yeah.
And, the Free Solo team has been thinking a lot about this question because we've been, every single turn surprises us. Like, for example, this week is Free Solo's 19th week of release. It opened in September, and it's going to be in its widest release possible. IMAX invited it 3 weeks ago. They gave us 100 screens, matinees only, because they didn't think the film would perform. And now IMAX has come back and said, well, we'll give you all the screenings and the whole IMAX footprint of 380 screens. And what is the world where a documentary could actually do that? What is the world that a film could actually do that?
We've got Netflix spending $13 billion or $15 billion. Every time I feel like I see a headline, it's a new number that's higher. I feel like documentaries maybe we're getting 1% of that budget, probably less, I don't even know. I think that the entire industry is pushing towards more and more content with streaming platforms, with everybody. And so documentaries are sort of getting this rising tide that lifts all boats. That would be my gut instinct in terms of why we're getting this recognition. And then with the theatrical this year, it is a number of films that are very political in nature, that are a response to the current administration or an escape from the current administration. That would be my gut instinct in terms of why the theatrical numbers were so strong this year. I would hope that they're going to continue.
Well, I think there's a big difference between the successful films that were acquired by great companies like Hulu and Oscilloscope and the films that are being commissioned, because, after premiering here last year, I've had so many meetings and there is a lot more money, but, they're asking, do you have a true crime series for us? And I'm like, no, I don't. But there's still those kind of barriers to entry, and it's also worth saying that there's a lot of new money in doc coming from people that come from not necessarily the film world. Because of this excitement of the financial viability of these films, you're getting money from places that aren't necessarily the traditional, people interested in the storytelling itself, but more looking for that next big hit. And that can be a little bit more problematic when it comes to getting money up front.
Yeah, I think in a weird way, Mind in the Gap would not have been, it was an unfundable project for many years. It was just hard to, talk, it's hard to convince people that, this world, this story about abuse and trauma in this world of skateboarding can work. But it's organizations like ITVS and PBS who ultimately made the film happen, and they came in and they took a risk, as they take a risk in, many other projects that I think it would probably be a little bit harder to pitch to a Netflix or a studio. I'm also, I feel like the jobs I'm getting offered too, from, the bigger companies are true crime or sports. They're more of a surefire audience out there. So I don't know, hopefully it gets better, and hopefully we're actually living in the Iron Age, and the Golden Age is still to come. Yeah.
I'm definitely worried for reasons, but I'm also, excited about just the general audience education of what a doc can be. I think as we're moving forward, that people are from film festivals, especially, and all the film festivals that have popped up over the years, people are understanding that doc doesn't mean just one thing anymore. And so that's something that's super encouraging that I'd like to point out.
I think my biggest fear is that right now what's happening is just a land grab sort of, and they're everyone's just trying to capture their territory, and it's just all gonna sort of fall off at a certain point.
a lot of our friends are in the outdoor community, and we've lost a lot of friends on all sorts of accidents. And the subject of Chasing Ice, James Baylog, I remember when we were in production, he one day he was counting off, and he counted 16 close friends that had died in the mountains. And we're out there. I was young. Our team was young. He put a huge amount of burden on training us because he knew that we were the weakest link. Like, if anything happened, we're 4 people alone on a glacier as we're like climbing into crevasses, we would have to save him if anything happened. So in that instance, it was really like the subject. It's not us putting the stress on the subject. In that instance, it was the subject wanting to make sure like we had the skills necessary just to handle these extreme circumstances. A little bit more distant than I think how you guys were approaching Alex.
Like our dilemma or our situation with Alex is the quintessential nonfiction situation. Like the difference between nonfiction and fiction is that nonfiction, we really don't know what's going to happen next. And that is the leap of faith we take as filmmakers. I mean, there are many ways to make all of these films, and they could have been incredibly sensational. Right. But we have chosen to approach these a certain way because it honors our subjects. I think that there are new types of stories being told, and they require different types of storytelling. But I think it's like that's, I'm not saying like I'm against like experimental filmmaking. I think experimental filmmaking is very strong. But like if you look at, like, I mean, there have been revelations in nonfiction film in the past, few years, and it's because we're finally being able to hear stories. Different types of storytellers are being empowered.